Welcome to Caching Waves. This is your Elliott Wave update for EGLD. Real quickly, I'll show you where my trade is at. I took this entry a few days ago, updated the stop now to 51.90. The max I can lose on this is $13.60 off the original risk of $100 or 1%. My public account is $10,000, so 1% risk per trade. So pretty much break even if I get stopped out here. Now just to show you on the 4 hour, we had a really nice leading diagonal here. We had a short retracement on our wave 2, so we only targeted between the 618 and 786 for each of the following waves, which hit ideally pretty much to the ticks. And we also came in this contracting manner. And most importantly, we rejected to the downside pretty quickly, which is what you expect after a completion of a leading diagonal. So I got in this trade, I'll show you in a moment, but it appears like we either have 3 waves in a double zigzag, ABC, ABC, or we're currently working on a 4th wave and expecting another wave to the downside to extend our A out a little bit, in which case we'd look for a long A, B, and C. So because that option's available, I'll go down to the 15-minute, how I took my trade. My initial entry was here at this first pullback. And if you're just scalping this on the daily, you hit the 1-to-1 extension and you had the possibility of re-entering. But for channel purposes, I'm targeting much higher, so I didn't scalp this on the channel. But as of right now, expecting, let me go out to the hourly for a second. If we don't get this move to the downside, so again, this could just be 3 waves and we're working on a 4th, in which case we expect this to turn into a wave 1 of a 5th, come back up, 3, 4, 5, and that's actually our A wave complete, which is why I've raised my stop to this pivot. Currently we have a zigzag in for an A wave. We have 3 waves back as a flat ABC, and if we're expecting a Y wave, this would become a Y wave, a WXY as a complex correction. We would expect this to be most likely a flat or a triangle, since we have a zigzag for our W wave. And we haven't retraced back to the 70%, which would be required for a flat of this move here. So that's where my stop is. Fully aware that this can just come back and collapse on us, but I'll be out of that trade at that point, in which case I might consider this a 1-2 of the 5th in the A wave, and I might consider a short if we get that, but I'll make sure to update that. But as of right now, expect this to turn into a flat, which would be a 3, 3, 5 waves up to get us between the 50 and the 618 there at, let me find that. We don't need this one. I pulled the pivots from the high to the low. That would be around 66.81 on log and 65.32 on linear, in which case there's the possibility that we continue the trend to the downside. But again, the other reason I took this is there's the possibility this is actually a 1-2, 1-2, because an ABC looks the exact same as a zigzag as a 1-2, 1-2. We have 5, 3, 5, right? It's the exact same setup. In which case we could actually make an expanded flat as a B wave, which would come pretty high. And from here, we're talking, a 60, 70% move, pretty high, which is why I decided to take this trade setup. But again, very little risk at the moment. And the way that would look, if we got that, we'd expect this to be a 1-2, 1-2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, and that would be like our A wave, come back for our B wave, and make another correction to the upside like so. So kind of in neutral position right now, pretty much risked off and just letting this move. And I will update this because a lot of where I move my stop depends on what the next move is, because it would be pretty difficult to ignore raising my stop if this just channels up in about the same amount of time and comes to our target. Comes to our target at the top of the channel at the 1-to-1, I would probably close my trade there. But if this is the 1-2, 1-2, although it's looking pretty weak, and we just start taking off, well, then I might change my mind on where I take profit. All right, guys, so that's it for EGLD. This is actually a very good spot buy for the long term, in my point of view, because we do have 5 waves to the upside as either an A wave or a wave 1. So after this correction ends, whatever it's going to be, there's a lot of options. I wouldn't expect it to go lower than, let me see, on log or linear 43, lower than 35.95, and ideally hold this wave 2 level on the long term. And you can see we're pretty close to there, but I wouldn't be longing or anything, but it's a good spot to start building a bag or DCAing in. But that's it for this one, guys. That's where my stop is. Pretty much risked off. I want to see this start trending before I can lean into any specific count. But as of right now, my trade with the current stop is around 14-1, just hitting this 1-to-1. So pretty happy with where the current trade is. All right, guys, thanks for watching.